You're not lazy. You're in a nervous system shutdown, and you don't know it. You care. You have plans. You think about doing things all day, and still you don't move. Then the guilt comes, and you call it laziness. But lazy people don't lie in bed feeling ashamed for resting. So what is this? This is something psychology calls emotional overload. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's how it usually shows up. You wake up already tired. Not physically, mentally. Before you even stand up, your mind scrolls through everything waiting for you. Messages you haven't replied to, goals you care about but haven't touched, responsibilities sitting quietly in the background. So you delay. You open your phone. You clean something unnecessary. You sit and think about starting instead of starting. Later, the guilt arrives. You tell yourself you're wasting your potential, that other people manage life better than you, that if you really wanted it, you just do it. This doesn't just affect productivity, it starts affecting identity. You begin seeing yourself as inconsistent, unreliable, someone who dreams more than they act. In relationships, you pull back. You don't want to explain why you're tired again, so you say you're fine. In decisions, you choose the smallest option because everything bigger feels heavy. This pattern isn't random. It's a psychological state called adaptive shutdown. When action feels like it might cost more than it gives, the brain conserves energy. That's not weakness, that's regulation. Modern life keeps demanding output while giving almost no space for internal resolution, so the system stays overloaded. And from the outside, it looks like laziness, but inside the brain, something very different is happening. Think of your brain like a browser. Every open tab uses memory, even when you're not looking at it. Now imagine you have 25 tabs open. Deadlines, expectations, self-criticism. What if I fail? What if I disappoint them? I should be further by now. Your brain has two key systems here. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for focus, planning, and action, and the limbic system, responsible for emotional meaning and threat detection. When emotional load is high, the limbic system stays alert. It sends a quiet message, now is not safe to expend energy. So it downregulates the prefrontal cortex. This is why you can want to do something and still feel unable to start. It's not motivation you're lacking, it's available cognitive bandwidth. Emotional overload is like trying to drive with the parking brake slightly on. The engine works, the desire is there, but movement feels heavy, and the harder you press the gas with self-criticism, the more strain the system feels, which leads to more shutdown. This is why just try harder never works, because it treats a nervous system issue as a moral one. So the real question isn't, how do I force myself? It's, how do I reduce internal load enough for action to feel safe again? We'll answer that, but slowly, because rushing is part of the problem. And here's the part most productivity advice completely misses. You're trying to solve this with discipline, but discipline is exactly what keeps the shutdown in place. Because the brain doesn't move when it feels pressured. It moves when it feels safe. Step 1. List what's mentally unfinished. Once a day, write down everything that feels unresolved. Not tasks, tensions, conversations you're avoiding, decisions you're postponing, expectations you're carrying that aren't yours. Labeling unnamed stress as an unresolved threat. Labeling reduces limbic activation and frees working memory. This is called affect labeling in neuroscience. You might write, I'm worried I'll disappoint my family if I change direction. Nothing changes externally, but your chest relaxes slightly. That relaxation is bandwidth returning, and with bandwidth, action becomes possible. Most people stop here, but this only clears space. It doesn't create movement yet. Step 2. Stop asking, is this important? Start asking, does this cost or generate energy? The brain prioritizes energy preservation over abstract goals. Tasks tied to self-worth often drain energy, even if meaningful. So instead of starting with the emotionally loaded project, you start with something neutral that creates momentum. Momentum lowers threat. Lower threat restores prefrontal access. Step 3. Redefine the task so it says nothing about who you are. The brain avoids actions that threaten identity. This is linked to the default mode network, which protects self-concept. Instead of, I'm working on my future, you say, I'm opening the file for 2 minutes. 2 minutes doesn't threaten identity. It doesn't ask for greatness. And once the brain senses safety, it often allows continuation. Not because of discipline, because danger is gone. Step 4. Ask what emotion you're avoiding. Before starting, ask, what emotion am I avoiding by not doing this? Avoidance is often emotional, not practical. You avoid sending an email not because it's hard, but because it might lead to rejection. So instead of forcing the email, you sit with the fear for 60 seconds. No fixing, just noticing. Once the emotion is acknowledged, the task loses its weight. Step 5. Alternate output with recovery. The nervous system needs oscillation. Constant output without recovery leads to shutdown. Work for 25 minutes, then walk. Breathe. No input. This teaches the brain effort is followed by safety. Over time, action stops triggering overload. Here's the simple model to remember. Laziness is about not caring. Emotional overload is about caring too much without relief. When you reduce internal noise, your natural drive returns, not as pressure, as permission. Action isn't something you force, it's something your system allows when it feels safe enough. So if you've been calling yourself lazy, that label may be the heaviest thing you're carrying. You're not behind, you're not broken. You've just been asking a tired system to function without rest, clarity, and emotional completion. Start there, not with discipline, with listening. Because when the load is named, the body follows. And when the nervous system feels safe again, action doesn't require discipline. It returns on its own.